All right, this is the no BS, no sugar-coated or stevia-coated. It's not the crystal hugging episode where I show you how to raise your vibrations by hugging your crystal. It's also not a video where I'm claiming that if you simply raise your vibration, tomorrow you're gonna look outside, there's gonna be a Lamborghini in your garage. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. This video, I'm gonna be sharing with you not just what we were talking about, all the woo-woo esoteric ways of going about this, which I'm not completely opposed to, by the way, but this is gonna be for people that want a more practical, relatable way to looking at raising vibration. And a lot of this has to do with understanding this chart of consciousness right here. You guys see this chart of consciousness? Do you see it? On it, you'll see, okay, so you'll see lower vibrational emotions at the bottom, and then you'll see in the middle, like the mid, kind of like the lukewarm vibrations, and at the top you feel there'll be high vibrations. That's like enlightenment, peace, joy. And the way that this works is all these emotions, this energy right here, there is an accumulation or a set point that every single one of us has. Back in 2012, my set point was pretty low. I was feeling fear. I was feeling a lot of anger towards my past. I was feeling like there was a lot of pent-up emotion. And the best thing I would do is I would try to numb it. I'd try to numb it and not feel it by drinking or smoking, and that was my way of coping with it. However, the No BS guide is about understanding that there's three main sections to you raising your vibration, and that when you do raise your vibration, it changes your whole entire life. I went from, on a scale of 0 to 10, feeling at about a 3 as a dominant set point, meaning every day, that's what I felt like if I were to smoke or drink, I'd feel a little bit better for a period of time, and then I'd go right back down to a 3, with 10 feeling amazing, 1 feeling not so great. Then what happened is, as I had some epiphanies, as I learned meditation, my whole entire life transformed. Within a couple months, within a couple weeks really, my set point went from a 3 out of 10 to about a 7 out of 10. And that I literally felt high all of the time. And I wasn't smoking, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't doing anything except for meditating. And I started to feel so good that I thought it was too good to be true. I remember walking around my room thinking, is this feeling gonna go away? It never really went away. It became the natural set point. It's not enlightenment, by the way. I'm not enlightened. I'm not saying I am. But I believe that our natural set point is to have a high vibration naturally, and that's why this video is the No BS guide to releasing, letting go of what isn't you, so that you can be high vibe, easy for you to believe in yourself, easy for you to really create what you want in your life from a mindset of that confidence, and it changes absolutely everything. My life has completely transformed since learning to raise my vibration. I went from working a 9-to-5 job that I hated, felt stuck in, to doing what I love, having the confidence, the empowerment to do that, and then also feeling good and enjoying the process along the way. And my life has completely transformed over the last 5 years from everything I'm gonna share with you in this video. So first off, let's talk about vibration. Okay, so there's 3 main parts to the process of raising your vibration, and what I'm gonna do is share my story so that you can see how I moved through each of these different things, because they have to do with letting go, has to do with taking responsibility, has to do with wiring in. These are the 3 main things, and if you remember that scale of consciousness, basically what we're doing is at the bottom of that scale, you'll see shame, fear, anger, guilt. These are all lower vibrational emotions. And what happens is then in the mid vibe, that's like personal development, that's willpower, that's like courage, and then towards the top we have love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. Now a lot of raising vibration is letting go of the old, then neutralizing, taking responsibility, and then wiring in the new. Now, just to give you and paint you the picture of where I used to be, I was working that 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes. I worked at Nordstrom's, and I worked there for years. And I knew I wasn't passionate about it. I knew I wanted to be doing something completely different than what I was doing, but I didn't know necessarily what that was. And when I was there, I was feeling a lot of resistance, especially in 2012. This was before my spiritual awakening. In that time, I was taking something called adderall, which is the prescription drug they give to kids or people that have what is called ADHD. And that would help me focus so that when I was working that sales commission job, I could really focus and make a lot of money. and it was something that had very harsh side effects. The side effects of it were you couldn't eat very much, you couldn't sleep very much. And what I ended up doing as well to counteract that is I used to smoke a lot of weed, because at the end of the day I'd go home and I had no appetite, wasn't able to sleep. Well, guess what the side effects of weed are? So I would do that. So I had this like thing where I felt dependent. I was like, well, I have to do this during the day, I have to do this at night in order for me to feel good. And I just remember feeling a lot of resistance, and like there had to be another way, there had to be something else. So I went online and I came across this stuff called meditation. And I was first like, no, meditation is not my thing. I don't want to sit there and meditate, it sounds boring. But the science on it was so profound to me. It was like, oh, there's like no negative side effects. People are able to focus much better. They're able to release more dopamine, less cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I'm like, wow, I should try this. So what I did is I decided to learn meditation. The first 2 or 3 days, nothing crazy happened. It was mainly just me getting mad at myself, and like years before that, I read the book The Secret, or no, I saw the movie The Secret. So I was like, oh, I can't think a negative thought. If I think a negative thought, I'm gonna create something bad. So I was like sitting there trying not to think a negative thought, which of course then you think negative thoughts, and feeling resistance. But by the 3rd or 4th day, something magical happened. By the 3rd or 4th day, I learned how to observe the thoughts rather than react to them. I wasn't trying to control them anymore, just observing them as they came up. And the funny thing is, as these thoughts would come up, I'd observe them and then let them go. And eventually, less and less of them came up. And eventually, I felt this spaciousness that I never really felt before. And I felt very present to the moment. And as I was there, I started to feel completely different. Even when I was looking at my past, things that have happened, the pain that I went through from 7 to 16 years old with an abusive ex-stepmom in my life, where my brother and I had zero freedom. We weren't allowed to have friends, we weren't allowed to watch TV. We were normally just locked outside doing yard work all day. And I felt like, I remember even, she left my life when I was 15, 16 years old. My dad divorced her. I still felt like I was unworthy. I didn't understand. I was angry at that whole situation. And I had this like pent up emotion. And in that moment, there was something profound that happened. I was able to see that everything that happened, even though it appeared to be bad, it planted a seed within me of something very powerful, because that actually led like a week later to a spiritual awakening. And when I was having that spiritual awakening, all that pressure that was created allowed me to then see myself in a completely new light. I was able to be grateful for it, but also I was able to really forgive my ex-stepmom, which is something that was very hard to do at first. But I realized as I looked into it more and more, I saw that my ex-stepmom was treated the same way by her dad, and that's why she was so angry towards my brother and I. So I was able to see it didn't make it right, but it did help me to understand. And I realized that everyone's always doing the best they can with the level of consciousness that they're at. That was a game changer. And when I started to realize that, I started to let go of that negative charge inside of myself, because I started to realize that was just her limiting perspective. The way she thought she got power as a narcissist that she was like, oh, I need to take it from other people. Doesn't make it right, but it does help me understand it a little bit more. And in that understanding, I was able to forgive. Here's the crazy thing. Even after my ex-stepmom left my life when I was 16 years old, first off, I attracted one of my first girlfriends who was very controlling, very jealous, trying to control me all the time. Same as my ex-stepmom, right? I had this belief that the feminine people in my life, or that energy, was trying to control me. I broke up with that girl. Then 2 weeks later, I got transferred to salon shoes at Nordstrom's, which is a better shoe department than I was in. But guess who the manager of that department is? She was completely a clone of my ex-stepmom. And she was so protected by upper management that we couldn't get her fired. We go to HR all the time about crazy stuff she would do, but she was so well protected. Now here's the funny thing. I learned meditation. I started observing my thoughts. I forgave my ex-stepmom. Within a week of doing this, even though I worked in salon shoes for 3 or 4 years, that manager got fired because that pattern left my life. It no longer serves me. All the outer reality is a reflection of the inner energy, our inner belief system about what we believe we deserve, about our vibration. When we let go, that's when we allow a change to happen on the outside. It was incredible. That happened. Within a short period of time, my whole entire life began to transform. And that's when I went from feeling, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was feeling at about a 3 to about a 7. I started feeling completely different, so empowered. I started realizing that my past and all this stuff that I thought had power over me, I started to see it and give it meaning. So if we look at that scale of consciousness again, a lot of it is letting go. It is letting go of the past meaning. Look at the scale of consciousness as well. You're going to see 499 and below, and 400 is the level of reasoning. That's the intellect of the mind. 500 is love. That's unconditional. Now the thing is below the 500, Everything is based on meaning. What is the meaning we give to different situations in our life? And if the meaning we gave to our past is that we are angry at someone else because of what someone else did, because we are feeling guilty for something we did or didn't do, we are feeling fear for something that may or may not happen in the future or something that happened in the past, whatever, then that attachment to that is what's causing us to continue to feel those lower vibrational energies. The key is releasing the meaning and letting it go. And when I talk about learning meditation, I went to the level of neutrality, which you'll see around the 200s, 250. Neutrality, observing my thoughts without labeling them, without judging them. That was when I started to feel the release of all the lower vibrational emotions, because I was observing and not reacting. And then what I did is I reframed the meaning at the 400s. I reframed the meaning of my past. I saw not how it happened to me, but how it happened for me. Many people that are watching this video right now, you guys are going through the process of a spiritual awakening, or you are somebody that is on this journey, and you've probably been through a lot of pressure growing up. That pressure led you to where you are now. And it actually served you, because otherwise you wouldn't be aware of this spiritual information, this non-BS guide. So that's the part that is so important to understand, is letting go and reframing and changing the meaning. At the 400s, everything we've been giving prior meaning to, maybe meaning that other people agree to, even the very bad things. I know people in my life, and I've had very bad things happen, and it's like, well, how can I give that a positive meaning? It's by understanding that it happened and we were able to transform. We're able to learn more about what we do or don't like, the contrast, but it helps us to also have more compassion for ourselves, heal the inner child. That's a lot of the work I've been doing recently. But a lot of this process is about letting go, observing, neutralizing, and letting go. And to neutralize, all you got to do is observe. Observe your thoughts, observe your emotions, let them be there. Don't try to control them. That's what I used to do. I used to try to control everything. The more you let go, the more you will feel free. The more your vibration will naturally raise. So this is one of the most important parts of it, is letting go, so that you can then wire in. Now the second part, let's go ahead and get into that too. Every single day, the first thing I do right when I wake up in the morning is I observe my thoughts for 5-10 minutes, right in the morning, right when I wake up, and then right before I go to bed at night. This has been the most transformative thing that has changed my life more than anything else. Now, the reason is when you wake up in the morning, what happens is you have this moment where you are moving from being asleep to then either being in a reactive state or a responsive state. Most people go straight into reaction, which means they go straight into their phone, they go straight into like reacting to emails and reacting to what's happening. That reaction causes us to be in more of a beta state, to be more, have more tense cortisol and energy inside our body. What I have learned, and the most powerful thing I've ever done is learn meditation. And meditation is really about observing the thoughts and neutrality. So before it's like us becoming aware, letting go. Now it's about having a daily practice. If you want to raise your vibration more than anything else, the thing that I recommend you do is just meditate for 5 or 10 minutes right when you wake up and right before you go to bed at night. What you do is you observe your thoughts. I stare at a candle flame. The reason a candle flame is because when my eyes are focused on one point, I realize that my mind doesn't wander as much. Eyes that wander is a mind that wanders. You learned that in Bikram yoga a long time ago. But as they say, keep your eye on yourself in the mirror, because otherwise, and that for me, used to having ADHD and taking adderall, that was something that I realized I was always looking at new stimulation. Now, oh, by the way, I didn't even tell you, before I made that huge transition, everything changed in my life. Within a week, I got off of adderall of learning meditation. Never needed it since. I realized that my identity was I believed that I needed to take Adderall because I believed there was this problem that I had. So I realized it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was my own belief, my own meaning that was causing it to perpetuate. Once I changed that, it changed everything. Instead of being the identity of needing Adderall, having ADHD, I had the identity of observing my thoughts, of being able to meditate, of grounding myself in grass. That's how I get rid of excess energy. Now, what I've shared with you right now, though, is meditating every single day will begin to change your sense of identity. You'll start to see yourself as a more aware person. You'll become aware of the beliefs you have about who you are. And all you got to do is every day for 5-10 minutes, right when you wake up, observe your thoughts, bring it back to your breath. Don't try to control your thoughts. But the more you observe them, the more they'll come in and go out, come in and go out. The more spaciousness you'll feel. It will change everything if you commit to that. Raising vibration really is a daily practice. It's a daily practice, something that you do every single day that changes you at the core level over time. Because think about what you do one day, not that powerful, right? When you start doing it every single day, it compounds over time. I've meditated every single day since 2012. I remember that, there's times I remember when I'd be in a situation where it doesn't seem like going to meditate before bed is as practical. But I would still go somewhere, meditate, and then go to bed. And it was something that is just wired into me. It's the way I see myself, and it's changed everything. And remember, you get into neutrality. You're letting that emotional, lower vibrational debris not become a part of you. Now, the next part of this, though, is probably one of the most powerful as well. The last part of this is understanding this right here. Right now, what I'm doing is something that I am passionate about. When you look at the scale of consciousness, you'll see the lower vibrational emotions at the bottom. You let go, you're observing, you're able to release those so that you raise your vibration. But one thing that's transformed my life more than anything else is really going after doing what I love. I was working a 9-to-5 job. After Nordstrom's, I went to Barney's, New York. I was working 5 days a week there, 40 hours a week. I knew I wasn't passionate about it, and I said, okay, what do I really want to be doing? I knew I wanted to be making videos. I didn't know how, I didn't have the confidence necessarily, but what I did is I simply decided to start. I started doing what I was passionate about. Within a couple weeks, I made this choice. I'm gonna make videos every single day on YouTube until I'm full-time, and it wasn't easy because I was working 9 to 5. I was then pretty much always making videos. I had to say no to a lot of things as well. I had to say no to hanging out with friends that normally weren't the best influences. I had to say no to doing things that didn't serve me. And by then saying yes to me going for my passion, for me making videos, for me doing these things, my life completely transformed within, honestly, a couple months. Put in my 2 weeks at Barney's, New York on August 2017 and never looked back since. I love what I do now. I've wired in a new way of being. Now, here's one thing that I like to say. In order for you to go full-time doing what you love, you have to do what you love full-time first, even if you have another job. I know, what about the timing of it? But you have to treat it. You treat your hobby like your full-time, vibrationally, energetically, it will eventually become your full-time. That's what I did with making videos every single day. Things began to grow after a period of time. And then guess what? Now I do what I love because I'm aligned to what I'm passionate about. You can find out what you're passionate about setting the intention. What am I passionate about? Start reading books. Make it your full-time job to find out what you're passionate about, and then go for it. Be the star of your own movie. Say yes to your vision. Say yes to you being the way you prefer to be. That's one thing that I've had to do is I've had to say no to things that aren't serving me. You realize your vibration as well is very susceptible to your environment. So if you are around people that are bringing you down, that are telling you can't do something, that are making you feel like you're not worthy or making you feel like you're not capable of the dreams or whatever intention or goals you have, then what that's doing is that's dampening your own vibe. That's keeping you in that limited mindset. The key is being able to have the courage and the confidence to say, no, this is what I want to do. Limit your time around people that drain your energy. And then what you do is you increase the amount of energy you put into what you love. I increase the amount of energy I put into my passion, to making daily videos, to learning marketing, to learning how to get my ideas out there in the world. I didn't know marketing. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't how to make a thumbnail. My first video that I ever put on YouTube it says title in the middle of it because I didn't know how to edit that title out on iMovie before Final Cut Pro. So just start and realize you figure it out along the way, but have a vision and say no to the things that are keeping you from your vision and say yes to the things that get you towards your vision and commit to it. That's the way to raise your vibration, is create life on your terms. Do what you want to do. Sit and have a vision that you're moving towards, but let go of the old. That's really what raising your vibration is. It's letting go of the old, wiring in the new. Letting go of the past, changing the meaning, and then wiring in a new way of being, of how you prefer to be. This is the key to how I raise my vibration. This is how you can raise your vibration. When you look at that scale of consciousness, you'll see reasoning at 499 and below. It's the intellect of the mind. It's the meaning you give to the past. The meaning is completely neutral. It is 100% up to you. You can give things positive meaning or negative meaning. It's up to you. And what you do is as you do that, you find that then you're on a more, you're creating the meaning in your life and giving things positive meaning. You're then taking responsibility in a very powerful way. So you can forgive people of your past. You can let go. That's all a process of letting go and forgiving, letting go of meaning. And then wiring in the meaning you prefer by finding the meaning of your passion. What are you here to do? And then wiring that in every single day. Have a meditation practice for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, 5 or 10 minutes at night. I promise you it will transform your life more than anything else. There is also a meditation for raising your dominant vibration. If you haven't checked that out yet, you will see that below. It's a meditation that so many people have said crazy cool things about. And if you click the link, you'll see the comments to see what's possible. Listen to that for 21 days. Watch how it changes your life. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, peace, much love, and namaste.